Okay. There you go.
Good
I'm
evening to
back.
Invited.
you, SY
Excellent
Imperia.
player.
So Tessa, do you have any questions for our person? Do you have a mic? You are allowed to speak right now.
Yeah, I have a mic.
Okay.
Okay.
Yun.
First of all, I really do want to congratulate you for being a part of, in my opinion, one of the best games, or if not the best game that we've watched in Agro LCS so far. So I wanted to ask you a few questions in terms of your team composition. Like,
Oh
why
yeah.
did Okay, so for example, why did you pick if I'm not mistaken, was the Fist chosen before the Kassadin or vice versa? Or if not, why Fizz at all to go mid? Because that was a surprising choice actually. At least from our end when we were watching Champion Select.
Oh, since Fizz is an assassin champion, we chose him because Kassadin is also an assassin. So we just wanted to match up with the enemy team.
And then we also wanted to ask you about your Vladimir build because there was a certain point where you had the components of many different items without completing a particular item. Like if I remember correctly, you started off with a needlessly large rod and then you had several other items and didn't complete one right away. So we wanted to ask about the build and get your thought process on it.
Okay, so for the needlessly large rod, I needed the large amount of AP for lifesteal, and I chose the hunting guys after the the one with the magic penetration for Sion, obviously, so that I can handle the lane. So yeah.
Like generally speaking, hunting guys is actually a very safe item because it provides HP health, HP, AP, and cooldown reduction. Not mistaken. So that's actually a smart way to go around it, all things considered.
And I wanted to ask who was in charge of shot calling for your game and making all the plays and figuring out your next move, for example.
Uh, I was a shot caller until mid game. Then Argagas was handling it for the late game.
Did you actually think of pushing the game later on? Because towards the mid game, it was obvious that blue team had an incredible lead. But then considering your compositions, we already all knew that Vlad and Gragas, for example, would scale late game. So was that a tactic that was going on at the back of your minds that you wanted to push it to late game in order to maximize how well they scale for later game?
Yeah, because we know that we will lose the clashes, so we just decided to go on objectives. So we decided to get an early Baron, early at least. Then yeah, we just wanted to scale until late game.
Okay, so SY Imperial, thank you so much for spending a couple of your minutes to provide us some insight towards your team strategy. We hope to see you again in our any of your
A
future
few minutes
fights.
actually,
In a
right?
few minutes, actually, we'll be covering your next
Yeah.
game. Um,
Okay, before we go on to a really short game analysis with the fifth man, I just want to shout out that there's another game right after this with Team Papi versus Team Syndicate. So tune in for that. Thank you so much to the representatives from each teams for these post-game interviews. And now we're going to go on to some quick analysis by the fifth man.
so while Fifth Man is not here, we'll check out. We're still doing a rain check
Hey,
on. Oh, there it is. Just
sorry, my mic was muted.
all right. Just before you start, we're currently for all the viewers out there, we're currently doing a rain check on the next game between Syndicate and Papi because of the recent, because of the server lag that was experienced in the previous game. We'll see about that. If there is another game, we'll inform you guys ASAP. So on to you, fifth man.
Okay, so from what I saw on in picks and bans, the initial goal of Syndicate's team comp was probably to snowball their bot lane and ensure early dragon control. But since Nunu was banned, they sort of defaulted on a comp that does well on picks and does does a bit good on team fights. However, in order for them to beat blue team's team fight comp, they had to stack all of their AoE damage after Vlad uses his ultimate, which increases damage from all sources. But the thing is, Zhao Sion was so good at zoning Fizz and their other illusion that they weren't able to put up enough damage in order to kill Jinx and Kassadin. So it's true that Lee Sin also falls off uh, later in the game, but they were so ahead that it didn't really matter. Yeah, yun.
A thing worth noting, Ren, is the comp of the blue side. You have a Kassadin who they can't really lock up that easily, and a Jinx, but that Jinx is protected by a really big front line on Sion and the Janna, who was, you know, the best
Oh yeah, yeah.
engage support. So it really chokes Syndicate as to what their options are. Because the Fizz has to get the best ulti on Jinx, which he did sometimes, but that was more because of the poor positioning of the Jinx in the Clash. But given their composition, lumabang lang talaga ang blue team because they have a comp that doesn't really force them to make the big dives and the big engages. While as for the red team, they were relying on the Vladimir and the Fizz to be on the perfect position and yeah, as you said, throw out the ultis on top of the carries. But you're talking about a Castle in here. You can't really just chunk him together with the Jinx. And the Jinx has a Janna. So yeah.
Okay, so we have our post-game analysis, courtesy of the Fifth Man and Moking Cakes. This was Team Solo Queue versus Team Syndicate. I hope you guys enjoyed our stream, and hopefully we'll be able to cater more excited action from the Ateneo LCS to your computer screens. This is your streaming. This is your local streaming team signing off for this game. Um, we'll update you ASAP on the next game, possibly tonight in a few minutes with Team Papi versus Team Syndicate. So yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in.
Bye, guys. MVP 0 kids.
Bye bye.